were talking like a few weeks ago or a few months ago that you wanted to build something that, can benefit the future jailbreaks to set the basis of something that they will allow us to, they will make it easier somehow. I didn't understand the full extent because I'm not a, developer, but that was my feeling, that you wanted to build something, and that's why you didn't want to split up in lots of different architectures and so yeah, we were just talking about that. So,
Yeah, I mean, the architectures are something separate. Like, that's just an issue that came up with the release of Roothide, and it will also continue to be an issue, even if, like, I've heard people here say that when Dopamine 2 comes out, like Bootstrap wouldn't be relevant anymore. That is a little true for the versions that Dopamine supports. Like, there's still going to be a Roothide jailbreak again, like using Dopamine, probably. So it's still relevant, basically, because people want an undetectable jailbreak, apparently.
Right. So that's a good point to bring up as well, because for a lot of people that had sort of seen that whole thing on Twitter, I guess the question is that we know that the implementation is kind of, from things that you've said, from things that other developers have said, the implementation could definitely have been implemented better. I mean, I'm not a developer, but from things that you've said, from things that other developers have said, it's not exactly the cleanest implementation.
There's two things to this. Like, first of all, I would say it's the jailbreak itself, like the Roothide Dopamine jailbreak.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is going to be a less predictable than Dopamine itself, because it has to use certain different techniques that are less detectable, but basically from a programming standpoint, less predictable. So that's like the main reason why Dopamine can't just take Roothide or something like that. And secondly, there's like the architecture thing, but that's separate. Like, that's just one dude making a semi-intelligent decision, and despite everyone else like telling him not to, but that should get resolved, hopefully. Like, that's also what Leopard is about, that I published today.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking of that I just had thought of was, I wonder, so when you guys were working on Troll Store 2, I mean, obviously we saw what happened with Serotonin, what happened with the Bootstrap, what happened with all this stuff. Was this anything that you saw coming from a standpoint of like, oh, semi jailbreaks, Troll Store 2 is very powerful. This could enable some very interesting things potentially. Is that anything that you saw happening, or was it as much of a surprise to you as it was for us?
So, I mean, Troll Store 2 in this regard is not more powerful than Troll Store 1. And no one did something like this for Troll Store 1. So it was like hard to predict, I guess. That's actually a very difficult question. Like, I don't think I saw this coming, but like I saw it coming before it was public, basically, because I did get like insights into development of the techniques used in like Serotonin and stuff like that.
Right. One of the other questions I think, and obviously this is going to be probably one of the most popular, if someone's using Bootstrap stuff, like if they want to migrate over from Bootstrap to Dopamine, and this is a question that I get a lot too, between different versions. And I always say, like, best possible thing to do when you're migrating between jailbreaks most of the time is just to uninstall whatever you're using first and to, install whatever new thing that you want to go to. A lot of times I feel like that's probably the safest bet in terms of logistically doing it. But I'm curious, in terms of the way that would maybe work, or that would maybe go down, is there any sort of seamless way to switch over and to migrate over once Dopamine 2 is ready?
So Bootstrap, I don't know. Like, so I can tell you a bit what I did yesterday. Yesterday, I changed the path that Dopamine stores the files in, so that if you were to update to Dopamine 2.0, it would like move the Bootstrap and convert it to Dopamine 2.0. And that would in turn mean that if you like jailbreak with another jailbreak tool, like there are some available, I think, for like MuBreak. When you jailbreak with those, then you would get a different Bootstrap than Dopamine, basically. But Bootstrap, like, it's confused that it's called Bootstrap because it's like an app and not a Bootstrap, but it won't be seamless. Like you will just get a new like environment basically if you jailbreak with dopamine.
Yeah, that makes sense.